Rick makes a lot of sense. He seems the most unhinged and like backed into a corner of any of these characters. And so I think if you're backed into a corner, like shoot your way out, maybe is the vibe.
I think that's an important distinction. It sounds like a gunfight. Like multiple people are shooting at each other.
That's a good point too.
Welcome back to the Breakroom. We're talking White Lotus Season 3, Episode 1. Is that a show you expected a channel in the new Rockstars Extended Universe to be covering? We don't care. We're excited to talk about it, okay? I am Zach Huddleston. I'm thrilled to be here talking White Lotus Season 3. I am joined to my immediate left, John Costa, wearing officially licensed White Lotus merch.
Wait, I have to go full fuckboy. There we go.
Oh.
Now I'm the asshole.
Too much.
The Italians discovered that years ago.
Yeah, that's right. I'm really just trying to bring season 2 into season 3.
Yeah.
And then Gina Ippolito is here.
I don't have a White Lotus shirt on. I do have a Galactus shirt on.
Nerdriot.shop. And then wearing his best resort wear, we got Brandon Barrett.
Swati Kai, everybody. Swati Kai.
Swati Kai. Okay, so if you're new to the show, White Lotus Season 3 premiered last night, February 16th. I'm trying to remember the date. Why does that matter? Who knows?
Is Zach establishing an alibi right now?
Yes. Hold up a newspaper.
I watched it from my home.
And every season centers around a different group of people going to the same brand of ultra premium resort in a different country. Otherwise unrelated, though there's some connective tissue between the seasons we're going to talk about. Some familiar faces show up. There's some, and a familiar activity happens in each of the seasons. Actually, 2 familiar activities: murder and sex. And we're going to talk about both of those. This season is set in maybe the most gorgeous yet Thailand location.
Yeah,
The cinematography
maybe,
has been incredible.
I mean, they always pick something picturesque. Season 1 was in Hawaii. Season 2 in Sicily, and now we're in Thailand. All of the seasons kind of work as standalone shows, but again, they have these recurring themes. And importantly, for our purposes here, each season begins with a death. And unlike maybe a murder mystery where it's more about who did it, in this it's more like who got done.
Right.
Yeah.
So we don't know who is dead, who the body is.
Or
Do we all have
or
theories
why.
about?
We all have.
Do we all have theories about who might have actually done it? Still.
Yes, we have theories about both who might be dead and who did the killing. And just in case you are waiting to explore seasons 1 and 2, we're probably going to spoil both of those seasons. Though it's a vibes show as much as it is a plot-driven show. So like, even if you know what happens in the end, I think you can still really enjoy going back and watching those shows.
It's such a small part of the show.
Yes.
It's such a small. It's everything that leads up to the actual murder.
Although I think we're going to get into this later. We all had a Leonardo DiCaprio moment at some point toward the end of this episode.
Oh,
When a certain someone shows up.
Yes, when an important cameo is made. But this season begins with 2 characters we have not seen in previous seasons. A guest named Zion, who is the son of somebody we have seen in previous seasons. Belinda, who was a massage therapist in season 1 of White Lotus.
Yeah.
She was a almost business partner with Jennifer Coolidge, who had her heart broken. Well, her son is getting some meditation advice in Thailand when some gunshots ring out, kicking off the events of the show, some kind of a mass shooting that results, well, actually, we don't know that dead body was shot. That body could be, White Lotus loves to pull the rug out from us, and you think...
killed by a crocodile 15 minutes earlier.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. Died of natural causes. Who knows?
There
That body
was a
could
block
be there
of
the day
ice.
before.
That's right.
It's
That's
true.
right. That's right. That body could have been in that water for months and just happened to float to the surface right now. Probably not likely, but so it cuts away. We get what has become a staple of the series, a beautiful title sequence with tapestries and like a new riff on the very catchy theme music.
Yes.
Brandon, you'd done a little research.
Yeah,
on that.
the person who created the original theme for I forget the artist's name, but he created the original theme song, and then he thought he was done, and then Mike White came back to him for season 2 and was like, hey, we're doing season 2. Because originally this was just a limited series. We didn't know we'd ever see more of the show. And he wanted for season 2, because it was in Sicily, he's like throwing some Renaissance I want some like harps. I want some of that sound. So he worked on it. He did. It became a club banger. It was all over TikTok.
Yeah, it was all over TikTok.
For season 3, he said he was inspired by people on TikTok harmonizing with their cats. If you know what that means, call in. But that was his kind of impetus for this one. But again, another great song. Another riff on the White Lotus theme and the visuals, which I think are very important.
Visuals are fantastic.
We're gonna come back to that. There's some very specific, and Mike White has also said, Mike White, the showrunner, the only writer on this show, it's kind of a one-man band. He directed and wrote this first episode. He has said that he kind of explores different overarching themes in each season. I believe the first season was about class, the second season was about sex, and this season is about death.
Oh, I thought it was about religion.
Interesting.
Well, I think it's kind of this. I mean, those two things are interwoven, certainly.
I'm gonna live forever, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah. Oh, good on you. But in general, how do we feel about opening the season with a mass shooting event?
It's interesting. It was a lot. It was a lot for a kind of fun comedy show that was about sex, but we all knew going into this episode that there was going to be a death. So in order to surprise your audience, I guess you kind of have to
raise the stakes.
Take it to a new level or something like that. So
we've seen shooting on this show before.
Yes.
So season 2
there's a great shootout in season 2.
Yeah.
It subverted expectations.
Great.
Well, and Brandon pointed out, I think earlier when we were chatting about it, season 1 begins with one dead body. Season 2 begins with, we know there are at least 2 dead bodies.
Yes.
A lot more than 2 people died in season 2.
And in both of those seasons, the death had already happened. Like the first season, they're at the airport and we see the body getting loaded onto a plane. So much later than when it happened. Second season, it's the police talking about it the morning after.
Or she goes into the ocean and then the body.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great point. But it's not the moment of death as far as we know. And this, I think season 3 is setting up, this is the moment of death. We're hearing the gunshots, and then we see a body. But again, we don't know when that body perished.
And it's worth pointing out, right? Most of those deaths have been not total fake outs, but there was a lot more
season 1 was
that we didn't know.
Not a murder. It was an accidental death.
Right.
Season 2 happens off campus. It's not at the resort technically.
And there's a mix of murders and accidental deaths.
Sure,
right. So maybe that's I mean, I do like the idea that maybe it's just one death this time. He's going back to basics. It's just one straight up death.
We only see one body. I also think it's interesting in the first 2 seasons that opening shot could also double as the final shot of the season, right? We don't necessarily see a lot after that, even once the season concludes. Whereas this, it feels like they could do a whole episode after the shootout. I mean, maybe they will, maybe they won't. Who knows? But we're going to get into, again, we all have very specific theories on who might be doing the shooting and who might be dead.
Or what?
But let's go over, or what were those gunshots, or just too many Pringles being opened at the same time?
Once you pop, you can't stop, Zach.
That's right.
That's why it's a mass shipping event.
And I bet, dude, I don't know if they have Pringles in Thailand, but I bet they're delicious. I bet they're spicy as hell.
Flavors.
Yeah, they're probably $18 a canister.
Oh, I bet they're so good. Okay, let's go over some of the players we're going to be talking about here. Some important cast members. And White Lotus always starts with kind of like a dropping off sequence that kind of is a quick intro.
Gorgeous
They
little
approach
boat
on boat.
trip.
Yeah,
and they're all very attractive, and their hair is blowing in the breeze, and they're looking out at the water, and you're like, these people are perfect. And then the first one opens their mouths, and you're like, ugh.
Yes.
I do love these moments because it's like this show does such a good job having this ensemble cast where you kind of spotlight this family, and then we go to this family, and we go to that family, and then eventually as the season goes on, they sort of intertwine. But it is so fun to see them interact and meet before they've gotten into each other's hair. And Walton Goggins' character smoking a cigarette and fighting with the Ratcliffs off the bat is so fun.
It's also a staple of the murder mystery genre, right? Especially of the very Agatha Christie style. Whether it's Glass Onion, whether it's Clue, you usually have people especially when there's a staff member to be introduced to, it doubles for us, the audience, we get introduced to them. So our cast of characters here, we have the Ratcliffs, the wealthy accented Southern family, Parker Posey, Jason Isaacs, just chewing scenery.
Love them both, but Parker Posey is especially. I see her here, and all I can think of is like A Mighty Wind and all the Christopher Guest movies where she was always a version of this character at sea.
Yeah, different levels of ditz and idiot, but weaponized in different ways. This feels like it's going to be very fun. And they have 3 kids. Saxon Piper, and Lachlan.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just seriously, that's Patrick Schwarzenegger on the left, and that is such a his dad pose.
Who's his dad?
Look. You know what?
Richard Schwarzenegger.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Richard.
I call him Dick. Like, it's casual.
Yeah, and we have a lot of thoughts on the Ratcliffe kids. We'll come back to them, but let's move on. We have we have Jacqueline and her friends. Mm-hmm. It's the three blonde ladies played by Carrie Coon, Michelle Monaghan.
Yeah, Jacqueline in the
Leslie
middle,
Mann.
Lori on the right, Kate on the left.
All generic white lady
Very simple names
Yep.
for all the adults in this
Yes,
show.
Generic
and we
white
come
lady
to find out there's some status differences in those three friends that are probably
Yep.
going to get played out over the course of the season. And we have Rick and Chelsea, a just full-blown dirtbag Walton Goggins.
It's so good. And so many secrets with these two. I mean, I'm
Yes.
sure there are a lot of secrets, as we saw in the sort of like coming up on the season preview at the end of this episode.
But I
A lot
would
of
say,
people have
like,
secrets, but
in terms of, there's always sort of like one character who you're like, who is of the fancy class and not the working class, that you're like, I think maybe this person's kind of an okay person compared to these other shitbags, and that's her for me. That's
she might be, her and Belinda seem to be the audience surrogates
Right.
that we are meeting,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then staff members probably.
I think there might be a little bit more to Chelsea than we know. When they were eating dinner, I was getting a kind of like the menu vibe from the two of them. I don't remember what exactly
Nicholas
was said.
Hoult?
Yeah, it was when she was like tasting the wine, and like Walton Goggins was sort of like very dismissive of
Yes.
what like you would read as like a lower status kind of thing of like, oh, this isn't a lot of wine.
she's
not
unrefined.
Yeah,
She's
she
never-
doesn't.
that
She
kind
doesn't
of
know about
thing.
wine tasting. That they
Yes.
pour a little so you can
Well,
taste it.
who was speculating that possibly she's a sex worker? And they are not. Evan was speculating before we started rolling. They are not a literal boyfriend girlfriend type of relationship. He's certainly not treating her with the emotional warmth one would associate. I mean, that could just be the nature of their relationship.
That almost indicates they've been together for a long
I was
time.
gonna say, I think that she is his girlfriend because he
Okay.
treats her like crap.
I don't. It does seem like a relationship of convenience in this moment. That like they lack a certain familiarity. They do know each other. Like she
Yeah.
knows he's an asshole. She's been putting up with
Yeah.
his behavior for a little bit.
It doesn't seem to phase her though.
Right,
Like
no.
she's not like taking it in and wounded.
And she's so thrilled to be on this vacation.
Yeah.
She'll put up with a lot
She
from
wanted
him.
to go to Australia, but he's not legally allowed to go.
Or
there.
he
We're gonna-
says, yeah,
Or he
yeah.
can't go
We're gonna
there.
come
He
back.
says he
We're
can't
gonna
go
come back to
there.
Rick because there's a vortex of mystery around him. And we get returning character Belinda again, and her son,
very attractive
who
son.
is not in present time is not at the resort yet.
he's
He'll be
arriving.
arriving.
Right.
She talks to him on the phone. Belinda has some issues with some of the wildlife in Thailand. That might be important as we go along. But yeah, she was the working class massage therapist in season 1 who got kind of wooed by the ultra wealthy Jennifer Coolidge, only to have her heart broken. We'll see how she gets screwed over in this season.
No, Belinda, justice for Belinda.
I do think it's interesting. Belinda says she's going to be there for 3 months, and we know that this event takes place within the week.
Right.
So like,
Does
yeah,
she
that's all
get to
very
enjoy
interesting. I
her?
don't know.
Yeah, she's getting training there because she's from another White Lotus
She's from the
resort.
White.
Somewhere else in the chain. Yeah, so
Yeah.
she's coming to get that. I mean, the Thai massage is a very famous art. I don't know if
Yeah.
it's not literally stated that's what she'll be studying, but maybe something like that. And then we meet our local staff. I'm going to do my best to pronounce these. Brandon might help me. Mook, Gaitak. That's who the security guard and the wellness ambassador. Is that
Yeah.
what she's called?
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't even think, is he a security guard or is he literally just a parking guard?
He might just
He
be the
runs the
parking
front
attendant.
gate. It sounds
Yeah,
like.
Does he have a gun?
No, it didn't look like he had a gun. He has like a pouch on his hip.
Okay, might be a
No, I don't think
walkie-talkie.
he-
Yeah,
I don't think he had a gun.
Gummy
And I
bears?
don't know if you watched the trailer for the rest of the season or the next
Yeah, yeah,
episode.
yeah.
It
It
does
looks like
indicate that he will be picking
gets-
up a gun.
he gets a
for
bump
training
up.
at some
Hey,
point.
interesting. Yes, Evan.
Oh, I was gonna say that exactly what Brandon was saying. Yep.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Not currently packing. May soon be packing.
Yeah.
And then owner of the resort, co-owner of the resort, Sritala,
She's great. She's
so
so
fun.
great.
and
Off the bat.
who is going to be somehow connected
Love
to Rick's
that.
character.
What
We're
did
going to
she
say?
talk about
Yeah.
that.
Just tell them to circle the boat.
Circle
Yeah,
the bay.
yeah.
Circle the bay. I need more time.
And she's like a former sort of starlet on Thailand,
Yes,
so she's
she
famous,
was an
and now she
actress.
married sort of a wealthy man, and they seem like a wealthy power couple that owns this resort.
Which
So
feels when we'll get into more what Walton Goggins' character wants with her or her husband.
And then Fabian, who this actor is in Zone of Interest, and in addition, I think he's of German descent. But the show, that ain't. That's Fabian behind Valentine or whatever.
I don't think I have that one.
Yeah, and then that guy Valentine, who didn't show up again in the episode.
Yeah.
But damn, his abs leave an impression.
From the coming attractions, it looks like maybe one of these basic white ladies is gonna want to bone him.
Oh yeah, who wouldn't? But yeah, Fabian. And then this. Do we have a?
This is Porn Chai.
Oh yeah, who might or might not be making a connection with Belinda.
Yeah, who seems really nice and is guiding her around.
Yeah,
And then we also sort of have those two.
The security, the bodyguards.
Yes.
Yeah, we only see them from this far away.
Shady security contractor guys.
Who's Valentine walking with? Keep eyes on.
That's not Valentine.
I think those are just
No,
extras.
that guy's too skinny.
He had a big
And then
neck.
also, there was the Australian wellness coordinator
She's
working with the
great.
Ratcliffs.
She's
Who
great.
had
We
a
also
fun
don't have
scene.
She was really funny.
Yeah, and so, a theme in this show is kind of the class dynamic between people that work at these resorts and people attending these resorts, right? Who are separated by many, many decimal points in their income level, and the strange power dynamics going back and forth. Season 1 did a great job with the Murray Bartlett manager character and him butting heads with Steve Zahn's character, and who was the younger guy?
Yeah, it's not Nicholas Hoult,
Anyways,
but it's someone like.
the Nicholas Hoult type, entitled rich guy.
The Saxon character. From
Yes,
season
the Saxon of that character. And then late in the episode, we weren't expecting this. We get a surprise cameo from Gary, aka Greg, the evil husband.
Whoa, we don't know if he's evil.
Well, he's evil.
He's evil.
He's evil. He's
He's
back.
evil.
the main-
Brand and his team kill your wife.
He has not done anything.
Carrie?
We have no evidence
Run.
that he had anything to do with Tanya's death. We have
I mean,
no
there's
evidence.
some evidence.
What's your evidence?
I
He
mean,
was in
he
that
knew
photo.
the
That
guys who
guy.
tried to kill her.
The filmmaking of season 2, when they kind of pointed it out that he was connected.
He had nothing to do. He wasn't there. We
There was
don't
a
even.
whole
right.
story.
We don't
told.
even know if
This
those
is
guys
season
were
two
going to kill.
combo.
We're not relitigating season 2. All I say is Greg was previously married to the Jennifer Coolidge character, who was the connective tissue between
Tanya.
They
season
met
1
in
and
season
season 2.
1.
Yes.
Got married.
Yes,
And then
and
she was killed by it.
she is now dead canonically, and he in theory has inherited her wealth or some of her
Sure,
wealth.
yes.
He's currently living with a model in Thailand and not getting along with her.
Yeah.
The way she said model was very interesting too.
Yeah.
It had a lot of sadness to it, and I worry about that poor woman.
Now,
Now,
you're wondering why, I think you were about to go here, why we said Gary,
Yes.
a.k.a. Greg.
there were several articles written by multiple outlets, Collider, Vulture, I think Slash Film had another one too, where they said that Greg is going by Gary this season, even though that did not occur in the first episode. They said that Chloe, his girlfriend, said his name was Gary, but I watched it again, went through the transcript. I didn't see any mention of Gary, so I don't know. I think that's gonna come out, probably out in episode 2. I don't know why every outlet kind of like leaked that little bit of
That
info.
makes me think he's on the lam. He's changed
Yeah,
his name
he's
because
hiding
he's
out.
wanted in the death of his wife.
How
Yeah,
did he-
yeah.
She fell off a boat. How did he have anything to do with that? I don't
No.
understand.
Well,
that-
you can get arrested for plotting to kill your wife.
Also,
the
he
woman who
inherited
killed
her
a bunch of
wealth.
dudes on a boat and then fell off of it. He's
They were
somehow
married for like
responsible
6
that.
months. There was a photo of him with one of the guys that tried to
And-
murder
and I
him.
think
When they were
Anytime-
younger. When they were younger
No,
people.
anytime your spouse dies, you inherit millions of dollars, and your spouse dies of suspicious circumstances. I think the authorities might want to chat. with you.
And
It
then
is
you
always
immediately
the
flee to
spouse.
Thailand.
Yes.
The authorities are like, what's this
with
guy
like
doing?
a
He's heartbroken.
27-year-old model.
He's
Yeah.
heartbroken.
We're all about getting the best sleep possible at the Breakroom, which is why we're stoked that Miracle Made is one of today's sponsors. The temperature you sleep at has a huge impact on the quality of your sleep. You know, if you're waking up right and left because you're getting hot, you're getting cold, all this kind of stuff, you got to try Miracle Made sheets. Miracle Made's fabric was inspired by NASA. So it's also thermoregulating. That means you'll sleep at the perfect temperature all night long. Plus, these sheets are crazy comfortable without the high price tag of other luxury brands. Miracle Made sheets are infused with silver that prevents bacterial growth. Bacteria can clog your pores, causing breakouts and acne, so sleeping on Miracle Made sheets is also good for your skin. Upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/breakroom and use the code BREAKROOM to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40%. Again, that's trymiracle.com/breakroom to treat yourself Thank you, Miracle Made, for sponsoring this show. Should we just jump into who we think is dead?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
who
that's
do you
probably a
think
good
is
place
dead?
to start.
Wow.
Who do you think your target is this season?
Okay.
Or I'm just saying, like, literally, who's that body? Now, the two people we know the body cannot be are Zion and the woman doing the meditation.
Amrita.
Right.
Amrita, doing the meditation, guided meditation with Zion. In theory, every other cast member is up for grabs.
He's worried it might be his mom.
Yes.
I think that almost rules her out.
Yeah, I think it
Too
also.
obvious?
Yeah, I think it rules her out. Here's the thing. I'm not sure they're clearly setting it up. Like every single person, this at some point is like, it'll be the death of me. Not exactly that, but they do give like a winking nod to like, oh, I could just die. And so they're clearly setting it up as like, hey, anyone can die. Walton Goggins is trying to kill someone. This guy's trying to kill someone. I would love it if they closed the loop on the first 3 seasons by having Belinda kill Gary / Greg / Laszlo from Real Genius.
Oh wow, a very
and get vengeance
Pretty
for
Little Liars. No, what is Big Little Lies kind of?
Yes.
Yeah, like I think they tried to in the sort of like coming attractions. She's at some point saying like I think we should call the cops, and they're trying to make it seem like she recognized him. She sort of put 2 and 2 together. I would love it if
also
she
in the
does.
coming attraction, there's a line of like, "Oh, he seems into her," or whatever. He seems interested in you.
Yes.
I think someone says that.
Because he might have recognized her, and he knows that she can put 2 and 2 together. So I would love it if she's just like goes crazy and kills him.
My speculation is based. I feel like we get the briefest glimpse of this body, but to me, in that very brief glimpse, it looked dark-headed. Okay,
Agreed.
so I'm gonna write off the blonde ladies in the cast. Okay, and I'm just gonna say Thai people often have dark hair. I'm gonna say it's a staff member. I also feel like you get a very glancing look at what could be the kind of a khaki top, which is kind of the uniform for the staff. So I'm gonna say, unfortunately, he seems like a swell guy, given rides on his motorcycle to his fellow staff members.
No.
I think it's my man Guy Talk.
Okay.
Yeah, he comes up and gets involved in a world of
Yes.
crime.
Yeah, I can see that. I think
see that.
Gina and I have a theory, and I don't know how close we are on our theory, but
I love
the
this
show
theory.
is going to have, if this is the truth, the show is going to have a lot of work to do to make this feel like it's going to pay off. I think the body is an overdosed Parker Posey,
Oh,
dead in the water.
Good,
Yep.
Love
good.
this.
And I think
Scratch
the
my
guns are monkeys found guns
Thank
and are
you.
just
Yes.
randomly
Thank you.
firing bullets.
I do love this, and there's no one's hit. It's just a monkey got a hold of a gun.
That's how I feel like it's not connected.
Gun
Yeah,
and body, not connected.
I agree. Also, because like from the time you hear those gunshots to the time you see that body floating, like very little time passes.
Also, John knows this better than I. Film School 101, right? Like the beginning is the end. We spend the first 5 minutes of the show talking and looking at monkeys.
Yeah, everyone's
So
like,
many
"Hey,
monkeys.
look at those monkeys!"
It's,
Like,
they put it everywhere.
It's on their
yeah,
uniforms.
yeah.
When Zion looks back, the monkey looks back.
a lot of monkeys.
Zion looks
statues.
forward, the monkey turns around. She says, "Stop the chattering of your mind."
yeah,
Your monkey mind.
I do love the theory that it's a monkey. Also, maybe it's that giant lizard that's running around.
A monitor? That was a tiny monitor. They get much bigger. I think
Some might say those monkeys are Chekhov's chimp.
Chekhov's chimp. We did get 2 Chekhov's guns in the coming attraction.
They weren't chimps, Evan, but otherwise that was a decent pun.
they have tails. They're monkeys.
Got 'em.
Yeah.
I think that the body. Yeah, I think the body and the shooting unrelated.
I love the notes.
I've been thinking about it. I think the body. I think it might be one of the bodyguards.
Okay.
Oh, but they're gonna kill off a nameless, faceless.
I
It's
think
a
you're
no-no?
assuming there's only one body, and I think
Okay.
I think
Yeah,
that
yeah,
body
yeah.
is a red herring. I think the guns are red herring. The shots that we heard are red herrings, and I think there's another murder to be found.
I think there's so
And you
many
got to
characters.
kill that guard to get to
Yeah.
Kunzitawa.
Oh.
And or
it's
her
like
husband,
it's a
who
video
might be
game.
there at that moment.
Yeah,
so
we're gonna
I
come
could,
to that
I could
next.
see that. I think that there are so many people on the show that are already so close to snapping. Like I could see Carrie Coon throwing a glass of wine in the face, grabbing a butter
to straight murder.
knife, and
Carrie
Well-
Coon with a gun sounds great.
Oh,
and I don't know if
I love
she ever
it.
did any of that work on The Leftovers, but if she did,
She did. I believe we are introduced with her shooting herself in the chest with a bulletproof vest in the left.
just started the left.
It's in the pilot, Brandon. It's in the pilot.
I'll never watch it.
Okay. But yeah, agreed. Well, we've seen her. I think we've seen her handle a proton pack if I'm not mistaken. Check the footage. Okay. Well, and like of our kind of three families, I know they're not all exactly related that are intertwined here. There are kind of two core mysteries, and maybe one that is more of a relationship-based mysteries, the three ladies.
Yeah.
But the two mysteries around the two male leads of these two families, right?
Yeah,
Let's
Goggins and Isaacs.
Yes, let's talk about Rick first. Walton Goggins' character.
And I don't like that.
There he is.
Rick's been described as an asshole. I don't think he's done anything that bad, to be honest. He was smoking on the boat, which should be allowed.
Outdoors?
No, that should not be allowed.
I agree with you.
You're in Thailand, you're outdoors, you're on a boat.
No,
If-
there
the
are
wind's
other
blowing?
people
I'm not finished.
in close
I'm
proximity.
not finished. They can get up and fucking move.
No.
Why does he gotta move? Why is Rick gotta move? Why is Rick gotta move?
Damn,
It's
dog.
polite. It's not polite to smoke around
Also,
other
when he
people.
sees the gentleman that evening, he's like, "How's your night going?" And that guy's like, "Shut up, asshole."
Because
says,
he's an
"Fuck off."
asshole
Well,
because
but
they fought on a boat.
he said, "How's your night going?"
So
To be a prick.
how's he supposed to say?
No, I think-
How's he supposed to say?
I
Just should keep her fucking mouth
I'll
closed.
I'll side with Brandon on that.
Thank you.
I will say, has Rick never heard of Zin? You know what I'm saying, dog? You don't have to be smoking your nicotine,
Are we
my
in the
man.
Ziniverse?
He's stressed out.
Okay.
And he's clearly stressed out.
gotta
He's-
kill
he's
someone.
with his
He's
girlfriend.
stressing out.
He has. We know there are some issues with him. He's not allowed in Australia.
He says. He
Who knows what that means? In
He
the
doesn't want to pay
entire-
for a trip to Australia.
The
with
entire
him.
nation of Australia won't allow him in.
He
Maybe
said-
he's
Also,
wanted.
Australia, well-known fugitive country.
I mean, that's
Formed
in
by-
their past.
I
Maybe-
know. Formed by
We need Maude Garrett here to defend our nation.
Maybe he tried to bring a dog that he had not registered into Australia.
That's a good point.
Put him on the criminal list.
But we know the only reason he has come to this specific resort is he knows that one of the owners, who is married to Sritala, is this man, this American man. We learn has been recently hospitalized, so he's no longer on the property.
Well, that's the story they're telling.
That's
Don't
right.
believe anything on this show.
We later see him after he abandons his girlfriend and is back in the room. He's doom scrolling photos, Google image search photos of this man.
Very helpful for the
Which
audience.
you would think if they're like leaning towards like, yeah, he's here to assassinate him. Like, do your research beforehand. Know what that guy looks like beforehand.
Sure, but I don't think he's there to assassinate him because
don't
he
think
would have
he
just
is either.
assassinated his wife and not tried to get anyone else
That's not
to
how
assassinate his
assassinations
wife.
work.
But I'm saying if you are like a confident killer, you don't hire someone to kill your wife. You just kill her yourself.
Yeah,
so I don't
yeah.
think he's there to kill someone.
Yeah.
And I thought the line of questioning that he asked the front desk person was interesting. Didn't he start with asking if she was single?
Is she married?
Yes.
Oh.
Is she married? So like, are you there to fuck her? Like, what are you
No,
there for?
I think this rich guy he thinks might be his daddy.
Yeah,
Oh, that would be
so we
fun.
were speculating on what
Lord.
he could want from this man, right? Like
that?
older white guy. We do see some photos. He's kind of skinny and like has maybe some features in common with Walton Goggins. I believe he's also an old bald white man.
Oh,
A
what?
recurring theme on
Oh,
this
I thought there
show.
was some hair. Was there?
There's
Or
maybe,
maybe
a little
he did.
hair.
I don't know the image we saw. But like, yeah. So is it a long lost father he's coming to reconnect with, or whatever? Brandon, you had another theory, didn't you? About who that guy might be to Walton Goggins?
I think we were talking about that. It could be possible if there is some sort of like sex tourism tied into this whole thing, that he is there to get revenge on this fella
Yeah.
who's maybe done something to aggrieve Rick in some sort of way.
Okay.
Yes.
Either by
Also-
allowing something to happen in this hotel or being in charge of
Oh.
some sort of
Oh,
like trafficking ring.
Oh, like it's like a Taken situation.
Yeah.
Like her husband trafficked Walton Goggins' daughter, and he's
Something
like,
like
he took
that.
my daughter, and I have a very specific set of
For
skills.
some reason, he wants revenge tied to his ownership of this place.
I am now realizing that I was getting Greg and Rick confused. Back
Well,
Greg's
Greg's innocent of everything, and that's clear.
God,
Your
You
wife.
people
what
are
a
rude.
weird character to
Gina literally
stand.
said, "Don't believe everything you see on the show," and then believed everything she saw. On the
I
show.
didn't believe everything. Listen.
Okay, so that's kind of the right now very opaque mystery around Rick.
Right.
Let's move on to the Ratcliffs. We know Papa Ratcliffe, who's wealthy, runs a business that son Saxon is already a part of, has some maybe some skeletons in his business closet tied to this. Was it? I keep getting it's Bahrain.
Brunei.
Bahrain and Brunei are two small, very wealthy
Zach's
countries.
getting into Formula One. A little
That's
too
right.
hard.
Brunei, which is a country very close to Indonesia. That shares actually the island of Jakarta with Indonesia and Timor-Leste, I believe. My
How
Asian
did you have
geography-
all of that, but you were getting Brunei?
I know
Bahrain
geography
mixed
and I
up.
don't know anything else. But he's getting these calls from the Wall Street Journal about his previous business relationship. This also could be related. There's a famous, like in the last 10 years, there's a famous case of there was a sovereign wealth fund created in Malaysia called like the M1 Fund, run by this one guy, a Malaysian man. It did things including funding the Wolf of Wall Street film. But basically, this guy just ripped off the country of Malaysia for billions of dollars. So, like, I don't know if they're using that as kind of like possibly a model for this scam.
Yeah, there's something. I mean, this all sounds like a basket of red herrings to me. So early in the show, they very quickly want you to think that something crazy is going on here, which something is going on, but whether or not it's related to the murder, we don't know yet, right? It sounds like a side business, not his main business, that he helped start with someone else, and there seems like there was maybe a third person involved at least. And something about that business is highly illegal, and it sounds like Timothy thought he was far enough away from it, but it's obviously this Wall Street Journal reporter is looking into it.
It's a similar plot to the Steve Zahn character in season 1,
Yeah.
who's a rich business guy who, while on vacation, kind of discovers he's lost everything.
Right. We're learning
yeah,
that
yeah.
it's all a paper.
Yeah,
tiger,
you don't
right?
amass this kind of wealth without doing horribly illegal and immoral things. I said it. Billionaires that are watching this show, come at me. I'll fight you in the street.
Also, if you're a billionaire watching the show, can we get a super chat? Thanks. Really appreciate
1 billion.
Really
I don't know that they are necessarily rich, right? I mean, I guess.
No, I think-
guess if you're getting you're getting questions from the Wall Street Journal, you probably have money.
gotta
But
have
Plus,
money
I
to
think
buy
in,
this
in
place.
all the promo materials, they sort of were like, oh, these are kind of like
this is the rich
the
family.
like Kennedys.
Duke
I mean,
ain't free.
they didn't. I don't think they said literally the Kennedys because Patrick is an actual Kennedy, based on who his mom is. But
They said the Vanderbilts.
oh, Vanderbilt.
No, I'm just joking.
I mean, maybe they did. I don't know. There's a lot of rich white families out there.
But my point to what you were saying, I agree. I don't think it's related to the murders because in the kind of coming attraction that they showed at the end of the episode, they said that the FBI was sort of involved with this. And I
Yeah.
don't think the FBI would be involved with a murder case that took place in
They wouldn't be doing international
Italy.
stuff.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't
But maybe they're setting it up like to imply that Jason Isaacs is going to kill himself.
I think
that was
that's
what I took
100%
it.
sure.
I took
real.
it to be like, oh, if this all comes down around him, he might just.
Well, and if his business is threatened, I mean, Saxon's business is threatened.
That's true.
So
that's
Saxon
true.
could go crazy and masturbate himself to death in the mouth.
Oh,
We're coming back to that. Put a pin in that. Well, and like, they make a point. They picked a country that is not that far from Thailand, where this business partner is located, right? So it's like, feels likely this business partner might show up, or maybe, Mr. Ratcliffe hops a quick flight over there.
One thought that I had was I love how they're doing the subtitles this season, where you have the original language behind the text. And I say original language because I'm wondering if they'll go to different countries in this season and they have that stylized because they will put different language behind it.
You might see Japanese characters or Indonesian characters.
Depends
or
on
something like that.
depends on Mike White's budget, I guess, for this season.
For travel. Yes. Well, I mean, they
do know that we'll see Rick in Bangkok at
Right?
some point.
Like with that shot of him in the car.
yeah.
Maybe what you're
Or he was on like a street.
Yeah.
It looked like a street market or whatever.
a more metropolitan
Yeah.
street. Okay. Then we gotta talk about these Ratcliffe kids.
Yes.
The
We
kids
gotta
are
talk
not
about
all
them.
Man.
These kids are gonna bone.
No.
It's so, and I so agree with you because when they're talking to the Australian woman, by the way, we should say
Pam. Her name's Pam.
Pam. When they're talking to Pam, Parker Posey's character says, "We're completely normal family. You'll find out."
Yeah.
Right.
And then it immediately cuts to Schwarzenegger picking up the daughter in a weirdly sexual.
Yeah.
So I think you're 100% right. He is at least trying to fuck one of his siblings.
Yeah, and every interaction between them is so strange. Like from the first point where it's like, oh, this is how many bedrooms there are, and he's like, all right, like the bros are together, and the daughter is like, no, he can sleep with me, and he's like, that's weird, and it's like, why is it weird? Every interaction is very strange, right down to the fact that the little brother wants to watch him jack it to Pornhub.
Oh, you think the little brother is into it?
I think the little brother
is
he's
the only
intrigued.
normal one.
No.
I would say he's intrigued. Well,
He
here's
was
my
definitely
theory.
watching
Here's my
it.
theory on the three kids, right? Like, Saxon, the older brother, definitely represents the most regressive form of masculinity, right? Like, it's all about snagging babes and jerking it
numbers
to
game.
porn.
It's a
And, like,
numbers game.
you can't, all this, he works for daddy and he's got muscles and, like, he's preening by the
Like
pool
that's
all
why
the time.
he didn't want to put away his phone, give up his phone, not to stay in contact with business, but
Yeah.
purely
For porn.
reasons.
Yeah.
He has a porn
Whereas-
addiction.
Again, we haven't spent as much time with her,
We only
but
see him watch porn once. That's not an addiction.
With his brother in the room, that is a complete addiction.
yeah. And then the daughter Piper, which again we don't know as much about yet. We didn't get to spend a lot of time with her, but we know she's at least interested in Eastern religions.
Well,
which-
this whole trip is because of her.
yes, she
In
Yeah.
theory.
she's
That's what
interested
the
in
dad
interviewing
said.
this monk, so she maybe is like representing a little bit more of progressive mindset, possibly. Though there's also something weird going on where she's scared to go into the monastery.
Yeah,
So
and
there's some
hasn't
confidence
already
issues.
contacted. But there's also like a scene where the two brothers are poolside, and he's like, "Yo, what about our sister? I don't think she's fucked, even though she's hot." Which is like such an insane thing to say to your little brother about your little sister.
Hank the dog is currently hacking, which is how I felt while watching that scene. People talking about their siblings in that way.
And they have not set up, by the way, that they're like step siblings, which is the Pornhub MO. It's like, it's all right, we're step siblings. I don't think they're going to. I think Mike White is just like, listen, rich people are fucking weird.
Now, last season did have an uncle and a nephew who were not actually related, but in Tanya's mind, those two gentlemen were related.
Oh, that's
So that was like a very
right.
messed up element of the second
Yeah,
season.
that's right.
I wonder if Mike White wants to like,
Take a step.
yeah, maybe like
HBO encouraged
Yeah.
him. They were like,
Well-
"You've done incest before, Mike."
all of this. Saxon is the one who's like following in his dad's footsteps, went to Duke, works
Mm-hmm.
in the family business. It makes me worried that like Saxon was abused by dad, and this has created this hypersexuality within him that has like totally warped his mind, and he's too afraid to leave the family. And when it all starts falling apart, when he finds out the business is a mess, he's gonna lose his mind.
Damn.
And he doesn't realize that like the other two siblings maybe were not molested or something like that. I don't know. That's
Yeah.
my crazy
Well,
theory.
and
on that.
I like that he keeps going for these weird roles.
My-
He was
my-
Golden
my
Boy
final-
in Gen V, and that was a weird backstory.
My final in the triangle of the Ratcliffe kids, the Lachlan, the youngest, right, who has to decide whether to go to North Carolina or Duke,
Has to decide
kind of
between brother and sister.
yeah, like who decide
and
with
dad.
theologically, who decide with sexually, right? Like also it's interesting if it's true that the sister has not had sex, right? Like and she's interested in monks, maybe there's like a pious
Yeah.
celibacy to her as well, right? Where it's like
Right.
a conscious decision she's made to
It does
avoid
seem
sex.
like her reason for being there is not real, and like
Yeah.
she made it up on the fly because she's still reading the book, or either that, or she's become hyper obsessed with this one monk, or she knows nothing about this guy.
Yeah.
His dad was like, "You haven't set up the interview yet. Like that's the whole reason why we're here." And she's like, She was afraid to go in the monastery. When she gets there, there's that weird shot of like the chimney with the kind of soot at the top, and behind it is like a giant cell phone tower.
Yeah.
They kind of linger on it twice, I think, and I was like, I don't get this. That was like a very weird moment, which this show I think sometimes feeds you weird moments to just create.
Well, the whole
confusion.
reason that they're there, being that this is her major, is a weird
Yeah.
reason. Like that alone is weird.
The
They're
whole
like,
trip
oh,
seems
we
like-
didn't really want to come here, but one of our kids is a religion major, so we
Yeah.
came here. And then
Because they
like,
usually
that's
always go to the
strange.
Caribbean, it sounds
Yeah,
like.
it's
That's where they
strange.
normally go.
It's strange.
Yeah.
They have a real Turks and Caicos vibes about them. You might not be able to tell when we're sitting here at the break room, but we are people who wear pants. That's one of the things we love about Bird Dogs. They make khakis that are good looking and comfortable. The fabric's just the right level of stretchy so you can move around, but it doesn't have that weird sheen, so it looks like a Lululemon or Vuori or something like that. Also, we really love their classic quarter zip. It's the top quarter, not the bottom quarter. That'd be weird. It's the perfect thing to toss on over a t-shirt as you're leaving the house this time of year. In LA, it's a little chilly, but it's not too cold. So quarter zip is perfect. And it looks like kind of formal. You get a little collar, business casual. It's sharp looking. It's great. True story. I wore the quarter zip to an advanced screening of Captain America Brave New World last week. And somebody asked me if I was an agent. Me, an agent. It was the quarter zip doing all the work. If you want comfy clothes that'll make you look like $1 million for less than $1 million, check out Bird Dogs. For a limited time, our listeners get a free hat with any order when you use promo code Breakroom at birddogs.com. Get their best-selling hat completely free when you use code Breakroom at birddogs.com. Support our show and let them know we sent you. Once again, you can get a free hat with any order when you use code Breakroom at birddogs.com. Get their best-selling hat completely free with code Breakroom. Thank you, Bird Dogs, for sponsoring the show. Real quick, let's call it. We already called who we think is dead and who we think might be doing the killing. Who do we think are the first of the characters we've met to have sex on this show?
Oh,
And I think multiple will have sex. It's just the first one.
2 monkeys.
Those don't count. I need
doesn't
named
count. Okay.
characters.
I would say either Kate or Jacqueline in some sort of weird power move. Jacqueline being the movie star, Kate being, or TV star. Sorry, we don't know if she's done any film. Yeah. Kate being like the friend who's closer to her than the other one is, Lori. Because Lori feels like, to me, it seems like Lori's on the outside of these two women who see themselves as equals, and Lori's like the third wheel.
Yeah, maybe she has less money. Yeah.
Even though it sounds like she's a CEO, or she has like a high-paying job. She has a corporate job.
Say
she
corporate,
says.
yeah.
But the other two are like too
world
busy
is so
competing
tough.
with each other.
Well,
They don't notice her.
They also make a point of when they're giving the forced compliments to her
Yeah.
that come a little harder. They mention like, oh, the corporate world.
She's
that's
always
so
last,
impressive.
too, for the
And they
compliments,
mention a daughter. They don't mention a husband.
Yeah.
They mention only a single daughter. So it's like maybe they're
And they do refer to them all as single at one point.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, no, but the
No,
one,
she has
one mentions
Kate has
a
a husband, Dave, in
Well,
Austin.
but
you
I-
don't know Dave. He's like a celebrity.
But I will say that in the like coming attractions for the season, they do tell Carrie Coon like, you need to bang him. You're the only one that's single. And then like it shows her getting a massage from that rip dude with the weird face.
Valentin?
The guy that's
Valentin.
famous
Well,
Russian.
speaking
that,
of-
that guy.
Her daughter, I did see a theory online that I thought might be fun. Is
She's Portia's mom?
she's Portia's mom.
Oh wow, from season 2.
Oh,
They-
wow.
they sort of intern assistant.
That's a fun theory. I think that the two overlooked girlfriends are gonna touch Bush and make out.
Oh, Lori and
That's
Kate?
great.
What?
What a graphic way of
This is
describing
America.
that. Yeah, that'd be interesting.
I think like they both have very unsatisfying relationships with their dudes who
They're
are
both-
both very much older.
they're both ready to get pissed, as she said.
They're ready to get pissed.
Yeah.
They compliment each other's teeth. They compliment each other's looks.
Oh, you're talking-
I think they're gonna
we're
get.
getting
You're talking
mixed up
Chloe
here.
and Chelsea.
Yeah, what did I say? I said the two chicks at the bar.
Yeah.
Oh, I think you meant the two girls in the friend group.
No.
No.
I think.
Chloe, you're saying Chloe and Chelsea. Chelsea being Rick's
I-
partner, Chloe being the
model.
new model.
Yes.
Model.
Yeah, I think they're gonna do a little muff diving on each other
Damn,
after.
Gina.
After, listen. What? I can't say anything.
Zach's
now?
got kids.
Kids.
But I think they're
Is it
both
secret
like
kid?
they're gonna get drunk and they're gonna be like, "Oh man, am I right?" They're clearly not with these men because they're attracted to them. One is like, "Yeah, my like doughy bald dude over there, that's him. I'm a model."
You don't think Chloe's a honeypot? Like Greg is using Chloe to lure in Chelsea for nefarious purposes? And Chloe's in
Oh,
Interesting.
okay.
Now you've swung back to Greg being an evil
No,
genius.
I didn't say it was a bad move.
Okay.
Yes, Greg. I've moved back to Greg being evil.
Yes. Wow. I love that theory.
What happened to Greg's cough? Was that all a fake?
No,
in
he
season
got
one?
cured. He got cured in season 2. But in between season 1 and season 2, she specifically says, like she used all of her considerable wealth to get him cured.
I mean, he was probably faking it, right?
No,
And then
no,
just, like, stopped coughing.
because he agrees to marry her because he's like, whatever, I'll marry this chick. I'm gonna be dead in 2 months anyway. And then she like cures him, and then he's like, oh crap, I'm married.
No, I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah, because
Evan.
in season 1, right, Greg is when he is at the resort, he says he's there with a group of guys from like the Bureau of Land Management, right? That could even be a cover too, right? What if the group of guys was the group of guys from season 2 and now they're just like trying to find this way to like continue to seduce older women or women with considerable funds to, do this.
I love that.
He looks so miserable.
Evan,
though.
I love your new camera angle. It's definitely the Prestige TV camera angle. It's like
Oh my God, it
a
is.
little Fincher.
Yeah.
It's a little underlit.
So high contrast.
It's great.
Wow, incredible.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. And I like, right, like, though they show like White Lotus does this great job of it's like 80% interpersonal drama and relationship dynamic with 20% ridiculous conspiracy plot kind of sprinkled over the top that's never really explained or like, and that's
really
fine.
seamlessly, right? Like even down to them getting all of their phones collected, right? Obviously felt like a setup of just like, we need him to take a phone call from the Wall Street Journal guy. We need him to watch pornography. But also, like, in this world where there are people getting killed, there's no way to call out unless you are, like, a hotel employee with a phone or something like that.
Also, I do think, like unfortunately, when they said that line, it, like, gave me anxiety. Like, I was like, oh, no phone or computer for a whole week. I know it shouldn't. I'm a damaged individual, clearly. But I think most people watching this would have a little bit of anxiety at the idea of not at all checking their emails for a week and
I mean, how am I supposed to enjoy this meditation without Marvel Snap? You know what I'm saying?
It is interesting that both the Ratcliffs and Rick and Chelsea didn't know, or at least Rick and Timothy, the two men of these two groups. Is Rick a patriarch? I don't know. The two men of these two groups, they weren't aware of what they'd signed up for, right? Rick is unaware of the gluten-free rice ball crap, and Timothy's unaware of, like, you have to put away your phones and everything. So it's like both of these trips may be last minute, like booked in a rush, and not well thought out, and they each have their reasons for that, and they could both be red herrings, but one of them could be tied to whatever the murder is.
This is also a dude thing. I think when vacations are planned, they're not doing a deep dive.
Well, is it also just good exposition for the audience, right?
Yes.
A good way to get out that exposition.
Well, I also love that for the most part, right? Like for a show that starts on a meditation, and this is like a wellness resort, more so than even the first two seasons. None of these characters are present.
Yeah.
Right? Now, it's just, they just got there,
right.
But they're all worried about, like, things going on in other places and issues with their home
Or they're,
life.
like, just drowning themselves in alcohol and, like, not even doing the
most high-strung individuals that we've seen.
Yes, Evan?
No, you go first, sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, we were all, we've been thinking about what is our Jennifer Coolidge memorial line of the episode. The one that stood out to me, it's not necessarily the most cleverly written line, but I like your teeth. It's just
thank you.
It was. Yeah, I think she's sort of the kooky one of this. Yeah, I don't know. The every awkward exchange between the white three.
The MILFs?
Yeah. Like every time one of them is like, I had a little work done, but it's a little maintenance.
She was like, dude, she said like she hadn't gotten any work done except for maintenance.
Except for maintenance.
She's like, what is that?
Yeah.
They had a word, like a portmanteau that was like treat works or something, or treat. It was like treatments mixed with like work. I forget what it was.
Yeah.
They had a clever line. My line of the episode is just Rick being like, how's your night going?
Fuck off.
That's great stuff. Does anyone have any thoughts about who we discussed who might be the dead body? We discussed the monkey theory, that monkeys are shooting off guns. If there's a person, whoever gets killed, do we think that there's a killer behind it? Because there's been a lot of like accidental deaths on this show.
Yes, I mean, if it's not monkeys shooting guns, and just the idea of multiple monkeys having multiple
I think it's
guns,
great.
It's so wild.
The title sequence has the monkeys picking up swords. That's what makes me think they're picking up swords.
I think those black shirt armed guards.
Okay.
Right, that's a little Chekhov's gun right there. Right, like we know they are there to protect the owners of the resort. Also, why do owners of resort need armed bodyguards?
Very independently wealthy people that leave the resort at some point. Like, I assume those guards travel with them wherever they go.
Oh yeah. Also interesting. Those are just the two guards because presumably the man's not there, so those are just for the woman. Presumably the man has his own guards, so they've got a small army of armed guards, right, who are tough and have tattoos.
Plus the monkey guards, you're not thinking.
Plus the monkeys who have guns now.
Yeah.
I think the most intriguing thing would be the little sister.
Oh, okay.
I think like that would be because there's a
Hyper
lot of
being
like
to go from like I'm a Buddhist to
like that's what I mean. Like there's a lot of obvious choices because like the men on the show have a lot of suppressed rage, right? Like you got like a dude that's clearly all roided up. There's armed bodyguards and a guy that's jealous of them. But the one sort of like maybe calm character is the little sister. So to me, that would be an intriguing choice if she was the murderer, because that would be a true like, holy crap, she really, like everyone else, that rage was simmering just below the surface. But for her, she just seems like genuinely sweet.
Yeah.
In order to like there were so many gunshots, right? And so if this is a person, I think Rick makes a lot of sense. He seems the most unhinged and like backed into a corner of any of these characters. And so I think if you're backed into a corner, like shoot your way out, maybe is the vibe.
I think that's an important distinction. It sounds like a gunfight. Like multiple people are shooting at each other.
That's a good point too.
I mean,
maybe
hopefully
one
it's
monkey
not.
stole a gun and they're like, shoot it before it shoots.
It might be that. I mean, it also could be the very sad, one person going room to room shooting. I mean,
But
let's hope it's not that bleak.
Heard
But
bullets kind of whizzing by.
The glass
So
broke.
yeah, so I think that like it feels less methodical than like I'm gonna guess.
Yeah.
it's chaotic.
Point to point.
Yeah.
I'm suspicious of Amrita, the woman leading the meditation moment.
She is
Only
hiding
because
something.
it seems like the perfect alibi. She's sitting there when stuff starts going down, and she doesn't immediately react. Zion has to tell her like those are gunshots,
true.
and she's like, "What? I don't think so."
Well, 'cause-
and then she says, "Just stay here," and then immediately books it.
I know
right?
that was hilarious.
But she also almost got shot in that scene.
Well, I think she knew she was safe the whole time.
Evan.
I want to hit some people from the chat before maybe we
Yeah.
hit one or two of the superlative things that we have. I also want to say my theory about who's gonna do the killing. It's guy talk. I think something's gonna happen to Mook, aka Lisa, and from Blackpink. Shout out Blackpink. But yeah, I do think something's gonna happen to her, and he's gonna kind of lose it. He's gonna be like, I gotta step up and snap.
Okay.
So maybe it's like good guy gun.
Yeah. Oh, maybe. I think maybe it's more
guys
of
with
a
guns?
driven to
The only way to
insanity.
stop a bad monkey with a gun?
Yeah.
Would you say it's good guy talk with gun?
Okay. Tony McHale sending in a YouTube super chat saying, "Hi guys, listening while I get my 4-mile run in. Wow, running 4 miles while listening to White Lotus chat. What are you, Ethan from season 2?
4 miles. What's that about? 3 hours? How long does that take?
What didn't we just all do a 5K like 6 months ago?
6 months ago.
Hope it didn't take us.
That was a year ago.
Shout out to Festive Wise and Marielle Fiona for resubbing on Twitch, and also a huge reaction from Touch Bush in the chat. I mean, I think that truly was some.
Is that Kate Bush's cousin?
You're welcome.
Now, if you've ever been told because you're too online, you need to go touch grass, this is a more intense version of that.
That's good. That's
We all
good.
need to get out and touch bush.
I mean, anything. I think there was a lot of like weird, definitely a lot of questions about the relationship between the Ratcliffe siblings. So I'm glad we hit some of that.
I watched this with a friend, and I watched this with 2 friends, and me and one of my friends were like, they're definitely gonna fuck. These kids are into incest, and my one friend was so out on the incest stuff, and I was like, how do you not see it? I'm curious if
How
there's
do you
anyone in the
not
chat
see
that's like,
it?
you guys are crazy about the incest.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people are like, wait, especially because we have a lot of people right now who are watching live who haven't seen the show before. So there's questions about like, why is this show popular? Is this what this show is about? Is this just another HBO
We
thing?
must sound like nonsense.
The last 2 seasons have not been like incest,
Besides,
Besides,
to say about an uncle and a nephew.
they're not related. They're not
In
related.
Tanya's mind, they were.
But
No, it is the
also-
show. The show loves like a forbidden love.
Yes,
thing. And like sexual tension across characters, right? Like in season 2, there's 2 couples where there's like weird cross-couple sexual tension. or
Yeah,
whatever, right?
yeah,
Which
yeah.
Incest is a very different thing than that, but it is another kind of forbidden love. Yeah, John, what were you about to say?
No, I was gonna say, does it even count if it's in the butt? But
I
I was glad that you sort of
really glad we
went
did
somewhere
what?
else. So I was gonna be.
I'm the one who's supposed to go tasteless. Okay, I'm so
can't all 4 of
embarrassed
us.
for you,
We
John.
gotta touch bush.
You inadvertently go tasteless. John and I go tasteless on purpose.
Yeah, that's right.
should we hit one of the superlatives before we wrap up our White Lotus talk
So
today?
we don't leave a bad taste in everyone's mouth.
Yeah, I guess I had a few in the script maybe, but I think off the top of my head, especially with this episode, who is you on vacation? Which character most represents like what you would be doing on vacation?
Oh, I'm the teeth.
Oh yeah.
I'm
Chloe?
the teeth because she goes there
Chelsea,
and her like boyfriend is kind of terrible, but she's like,
Like, I'm
whatever,
gonna go
I'm
there
still gonna party. And then she like meets a friend at the bar and they start drinking. That seems to be the most happy-go-lucky one here.
Okay. I don't know if there's because I would probably be like because my wife does all the planning and all the hard work, and I show up and I'm a good sport.
Yeah.
I don't complain.
Proves
and
my point.
I keep everyone calm and cool. So I'm Greg. No, I don't. There's not really someone like that on this show.
I mean,
yet.
it seems like it's kind of Jason Isaacs because he's the voice of reason with his wife. Like he's like, "Don't go to sleep right now."
Yeah, but he's bankrolling it, and I'm certainly not doing that. So I'm kind of mix of I'm a little mix of Timothy, a little mix of.
You're one of the monkeys.
You know what? Yeah, I'm the monkey in the tree. Just vibing, dude.
Oh, beautiful.
The digital one or the real one?
Definitely the real one. Not 2 real monkeys, 3 digital monkeys. That's
not
1 real Savannah monitor.
No, I question your speculation about CGI monkeys.
Oh,
I feel like
were
that's
CGI
all
monkeys.
practical.
Those 3 were absolutely CGI.
Yeah.
How would you get them to
100%.
all do the same movement up the tree at the same time?
You can train monkeys, okay?
No,
Yeah, I learned.
you're telling me they got 4 different
I
monkeys?
think you can train
But
chimps.
wait, Brandon, maybe you're porn shy.
I don't know. Maybe.
Oh, maybe.
He's just there to help.
He's working.
I mean, you got the mustache.
Well,
True.
not follicularly, but spiritually, I'm an LBH. I'm a loser back home for sure.
We didn't explain Loser Back Home, did we?
The real ones, no.
We kind of got it a little bit here and there.
John?
I'm torn between Carrie Coon's character
go back to the room crying?
going to bed early with my glass of wine and letting my friends kind of hang out by themselves, or Lachlan, who just wants to put on their headphones and go to bed and ignore my siblings go away.
But not really ignore your siblings.
I
You're
don't
watching
agree
one
with
of them.
your take
Yeah,
that
me
he's
neither.
into his brother
God, we
masturbating in
watched
front of
this-
him.
His brother says, how do I masturbate with you in the room? Oh, well, I'll just go to the bathroom. Gets out of bed, is buck-ass naked, takes his phone, turns it on Pornhub, and then his brother is watching him.
Yeah,
if
I
you were
think
in a
that
room
part's
with
weird.
someone who was like, hey, I'm going to go jack it,
That's
you
not me.
immediately be like, I don't know what you're
But
talking
there's
about. I'm
almost
looking at my email.
there's
I'm not
almost a
looking
train
around.
wreck quality to how Saxon is acting, where it's like you almost can't look away because it's like this guy was naked in bed,
Yeah.
and he's like vocally talking about jerking off in front of me,
Yeah.
like
But he looks disappointed when he ultimately closes the door.
Well, he could be like very sexually repressed and like does not know how to even
Oh.
approach the
He's a
subject for
virgin.
himself.
You're saying
and, like,
he's
do we
watching
think-
for
yeah,
pointers.
He's the virgin.
Do we think if both Lachlan and Piper are virgins, which feels like pretty likely, do we
Yeah.
think one or both of them will lose their virginity? Both,
Oh,
probably.
I
right?
think it would be very fun if all 3 of them were virgins and the 2 younger siblings lose their virginity and the older siblings.
Oh!
He does strike out a lot
mean,
in the
yeah,
pool.
yeah.
He strikes out with every
He's not very
woman.
smooth.
He's not very smooth, but I mean,
Also, when he's like, it's a numbers game, and he's like trying to get with those much older women than him, it's just
Yeah.
like, all right, man, what are you doing? Like,
yeah, but it is surprising that they don't even give him the time of day because they're obviously like one of them is
Yeah, yeah.
single, one of them, and he is like showing interest, and
Yeah,
it's
but
like,
They just
They
got
can read
there.
that he's a douchebag from 1,000
Yeah.
miles.
They can do better.
yeah, that's
probably.
true.
Yeah.
That's true.
They probably saw him on the boat. Being
Brandon has pulled up the frames with the
Yeah.
monkeys.
When we're finished
my
with this, I'm
goodness.
gonna prove Zach.
Okay, fair.
He's a monkey.
Hey, let us know in the comments. Are you watching this show? Are you intrigued? Do you want us to cover it weekly? We don't know if we're going to be able to do that, if this show's going to be popular enough. You know, we were pleasantly surprised with Severance about how many people got into that, and our weekly coverage of that has been a success here on the Breakroom and on New Rockstars. We don't know if White Lotus is going to be similar or not. So if you do like the show, you would like us to keep covering, leave those comments, share this with friends who are also liking the show. Watch the whole video 5 times. Anything you could do to send us some signals that there's interest out there, we'd appreciate it.
Also, watch it. You have enough time. It's each season is only like 7 episodes
Yeah.
or something. You could pound that out in a couple days.
Evan just did that. Was it a good binge?
oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Good binge.
Like a vacation to a foreign country without leaving the comfort of your own home. Yes. Okay. Thank you so much for watching. Again, like, subscribe, all those kind of things. And or if you're watching live, stick around for lingering questions from Captain America: Brave New World. Thank you so much, everybody.
Bye, guys.